So Dragon's Prophet is a free-to-play, action-based, massively online role-playing game. It features a lot of different dragons in the world. There are 400 different types that you can ride, capture, train, and fight alongside of. The zone that we're currently in right now is an unreleased zone called Wintertide. It's what we know as Zone 7. It will increase the level cap for players from level 60 to level 70. It's set in an icy landscape, as you can see, and it's basically describes the struggle that occurred during the Second Dragon Wars, when the Eternal Dragons were engaged in a large-scale struggle. As you can see right now, I'm outside of a town, and the town is actually wrapped in the spine of one of the Eternal Dragons that has long been deceased.
Very nice.
These are an example of the type of visuals that you'll see in Wintertide, because there's a lot of remains of the Eternal Dragons that were deceased in the Second Dragon War.
That looks really good.
It's pretty neat. You can see like the dragon's claw in the center as it's coming out of the ice there. It's kind of a neat visual.
Looks nice.
So I'm going to jump to another part of the zone here for you to see. It's actually one of the giant forts. In Wintertide, the players will encounter giants and trolls that are kind of fighting over the landscape of the existing terrain. And the players will kind of do quests for the giants or do quests against them, and they can decide how they want to progress through the zone.
Very interesting.
The giants are really kind of neat because they're the first larger mobs that players will fight on a regular basis, and they have really cool kinds of attacks, and of course it uses our dynamic combat engine where you can dodge out of the way of the physics. Pretty neat. So over here we see a couple giants.
Oh wow.
Has a big club, looks like he's grabbing a rock out of the ground, and I'm going to jump out of the way of it.
Get rid of that.
It's pretty cool. Got lucky there. Thing hurts. So here's another one. He's actually going to fire a bow and arrow at me. Dodge out of the way of it. Let's get engaged with him here a little bit. Freeze him. Fight. But I'm not going to fight these guys. I'm actually going to run away.
I would too.
So if I cross the bridge here, I'm actually going into one of the giant cities, and you can see that the scale of the city is quite large. The gate, in fact, is about 30 feet off the ground. And as I run through it here, you can see that there's soldiers lined up. Actually, the Torrents Stronghold. And Torrents are a race of NPCs that are kind of fighting against the giants and the trolls in the zone, and the player actually works with them to further their objectives. You can see some neat art here. A lot of really cool visuals in the zone, and it has that whole icy landscape going for it. It's pretty cool. Pull out one of my dragons here. Hop on him. One of the cool things about Dragon's Prophet, as you guys probably know, is the Z-axis is really exaggerated in this game. So players can kind of travel around the rooftops of the city and explore any parts of it they want to see. So like this large archway in the front is kind of impressive. You see the sun above there. It's pretty neat. So we're really excited about Wintertide, and it continues the story that the players have been playing through in the previous zones, and kind of unfolds, and you get to see what happened during the Second Dragon Wars.
So players will have access to this as one of the new starting zones as well, or is this?
This is actually for level 60 to 70 content. Okay. So the players will play through one of the first 3 starting zones, and then the additional 3 zones that take you from levels 30 through 60. And then you'll actually board a train in Korhala, which is the level 60 zone, and you'll ride that train to Wintertide. Some of the zones connect through airships. Those are kind of neat to jump on and fly through different zones. But this one, there's the tram that goes from zone 3 through zone 6 and then into Wintertide, which is zone 7.
Gotcha. So I take it with this zone, you'll have like exclusive dragons associated, like snows type dragons.
Absolutely. I'm actually really excited about them because they take some of the current dragon models and actually retexture them and introduce full new types of dragons. And they're more furry. Like if you look at these bears here, this is a woodland kind of bear from the other zones, but he's adapted for the snow environment. You see his fur is a little bit longer, looks a little bit more feral because he's out here in the cold, kind of has to fight for his survival. So a lot of the creatures in the zone follow suit. We have these other Simor creatures over here. They're kind of neat. You can't actually capture them, but they're kind of like a snow griffin creature.
Yeah.
Pretty neat looking. So we introduced a lot of new creature models, along with the trolls and giants in Zone 7. We have a lot of new zones in store for you also. After Wintertide, we'll be showing Zone 8, which is actually the level 70 to 80 zone. And we have a lot of content planned, so we're really excited about that.
Excellent.
actually show you a couple other types of dragons. I have the one that I was just on is a flying dragon. Obviously, it has wings. You can fly it around. It's kind of neat. We have another one. This is a ground dragon. His name's Thornlash. He's actually a rare dragon. And he's kind of a lizard type.
Yeah.
Komodo dragon almost. Has those cool spikes and frills on him. You can ride him. He's on the ground. He has a fast land movement speed. And as I come up here to the lake, I'm going to showcase an aqua dragon. I don't think we've really showed them too much, but this one is called Vex Tide. He's also a rare dragon. Kind of smaller.
Yeah.
But I jump on his back, and we're going to go for a swim. So this water is probably much too cold for me to jump in normally, but I'm going to push the I believe button and hop in here. And he can swim on the surface and actually go underwater. And all of the underwater areas are kind of textured, and there's some quests that take you underneath, and you have to kind of do content down here. But as long as you're riding a swimming dragon, your movement speed is quite effective. Swimming dragons like this one are the only ones that'll go underwater.
Okay.
Usually jump on the surface a little bit too. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
I have one more. That was loud. One more flyer. Just to showcase the different types of dragons that we have in the game.
Yeah,
there's over
nice.
400 different types that the players can capture and train, and they really evolve alongside of the characters. So it looks like here we actually have one that's fallen. That actually looks like a doom dragon. You can tell because of its eyes and teeth are really kind of crazy. So
demonic looking dragons.
it is very. The story behind that, like this guy that's fighting me right now, he's called a marauder. That model type is a marauder, and it's basically these types of humans that drank Kronos' blood. Kronos is the ancient dragon who's kind of the prime antagonist of the game. And these creatures drank his blood, and they kind of mutated them a little bit, and it turns them into their marauder form. They have exceptional strength and great power, but they pay the price because they drink his blood and they're kind of bid to him. They're bound to him to do his bidding. And this is one of the Doom Dragons. Pretty scary looking guy. You can't capture him, and I don't really want to fight him either, so I'm going to hop out of the way. But they're pretty neat. He's got some cool attacks. Let's push him back a little bit.
Yeah, gain your distance.
Yeah. So this is another one of the cities that the players can experience. There's some of these cool looking dragon horse things pulling the sleds. And you can see the NPCs have donned clothing that's appropriate for the winter environment. Some of the armor sets that come from Wintertide also have that wintry feel to it. Instead of being, designed for a summer environment, they have the more wintry kind of furs and heavier armor.
Got some snowman.
Yep, there's actually a snowman. There's kind of a cool zone. We don't have access to it currently, but we'll have access soon. There's a penguin type creature in it, and when you fight them, they throw snowballs at you. Snowballs actually knock you down. It's kind of fun. You see, there's also new furniture. In our player housing, we've never really showcased it too much. I think we've talked about it briefly, but this zone introduces a lot of new furniture for the player housing as well. Also has that winter theme, so you have a lot of furs and rugs. All the stuff that I'm showing inside the house right now can be owned and crafted by players, and they can decorate their houses with it as well.